The Hartford Small Business Insurance knows that running a small business is a big-time commitment. So this holiday season, they're celebrating hardworking small business owners with a chance to go to iHeartRadio Jingle Ball in Miami on December 16th. Nominate yourself or another small business owner for a chance to win a trip for two. Includes airfare, two-night hotel, tickets to the show, plus $1,000 in spending cash. For official rules and entry information, visit iHeartRadio.com/smallbusiness.
Did you miss your deadline to renew your Medicaid coverage? You can still send your completed annual review form to Healthy Connections Medicaid. You may be assigned to another health plan, but you can ask to come back to First Choice within 60 days of renewed Medicaid eligibility. It's your family. It's your choice. First Choice is the right choice. Renew and choose us. Visit selecthealthofsc.com/renew to learn more.
Welcome to Pretty Lies and Alibis, a podcast dedicated to the Lori Vallow and Chad Daybell case. Join us as we seek the truth and travel the long road to justice. Hey everybody, we didn't think we would be back on this week, but here we are.
Yeah, I totally thought we may do one Sunday night and then Monday and Tuesday, but...
well, that's not going to happen because Lori waived her right to a preliminary hearing. So what does that mean? It just means that she's pretty much agreeing that they have enough to send her to trial. So she waived that hearing, and there was a very short hearing today where she formally waived her right. We put some pictures up on Twitter. We got some screen grabs and cleaned those up. You can see Lori a little bit better, well, a lot better actually. And what did you think about how she looked? I mean, she's behind a mask, but
yeah, and that was, she's hiding behind that mask. There wasn't nobody sitting at that table.
The guys were in the way back of the courtroom. She just, yeah. I mean, I guess, look, she's probably, I don't know that she's ashamed, but she's eating some crow right now because the world didn't end and these charges aren't going anywhere.
Yeah.
So what did you think about how she looked?
She's starting to look a little rough.
Yeah, a little bit.
I mean, being in prison, I mean, you don't have access to a lot of things, and
right, you don't have access to Botox.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's been in jail since February now, so you know our math, guys. If you've listened to more than one episode, we always talk about how we suck at math. So let's see, February, March, April, May, June, July. 6 months. Sorry, I'm a finger counter, and there's no shame in that.
No.
So 6 months. She's been in jail half a year now. You know, it seems like yesterday we were just every day, when are they going to arrest her? When are they going to arrest Chad? And now here we are. We've already had, one preliminary hearing, and now we're going to trial.
Yep.
I thought her eyes looked dead. And I don't mean that in an ugly, cryptic way. But
it was like hopeless. I mean, that's kind of the word I was.
Yeah. I mean, she just looked blank. Her eyes looked empty. They looked red.
Mm-hmm.
If you go to our Twitter account, it's at Pretty Lies Alibi. We do, like I said, we have those cleaned up pictures. You can definitely see them a little better. I think she's starting to grasp how serious this is.
Yeah.
Maybe. And we really, at this point, and I know there's some debate about it online, but we really do think Chad may have flipped.
I mean, I don't see how you can think. I mean, everybody has their own opinion, and we won't know until we get there. But just the line of questioning that prior went down, it just seems like they're going to try to pin it on Lori and Alex.
Yeah, I think so too. And actually, one of the anchors one of the legal analysts on Court TV, his opinion is maybe even try to implicate Melanie Gibb because of the line of questioning about her relationship with Tylee.
Yeah. And I'm sorry, that's just dumb.
I think we're not calling him dumb.
No, I'm not calling him dumb.
No, we're not calling anybody dumb.
I'm just saying that idea, I don't.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think if the prosecution had any, suspicion, I don't think Melanie Gibb would be testifying for the prosecution. But we don't know. Could it be that Lori turned? I mean, Chad's preliminary was first, so it's easy to assume, listening to his lawyer, if you sort of pick out the parts that are suspicious, that maybe it was Chad. But if Lori had went first, when maybe we thought she had flipped.
True.
Because she flips on everybody at
Yep.
some point in her life.
Yeah.
I mean, the only person it seems like she hasn't flipped on is Colby.
Yeah.
But, you know, it's just I don't see any she had no hope in her eyes, and I
Yeah.
think that's not just from the charges.
Yeah. And her shoulders were still.
Yeah.
I'm going to work on a video on that to show her entrance into the courtroom and how she's changed over the past 6 months.
Yeah, I mean, I'll never forget that that appearance where she came in with the makeup and it was that first
Yeah.
hearing in Rexburg.
Coming from Hawaii. Yeah.
And I mean, she almost had like this catwalk strut.
Yeah. Her shoulders were back.
And she had that smirk on her face. That picture, I tell you, in our little studio here, it's still a work in progress. I really want to get some pictures of the kids of JJ and Tylee up in here. And but the picture where she's walking out of court and she's got her eyes closed and her chin's up in the air and she's got that grin.
Yeah.
And then Kay is shooting lasers at her with her eyes.
Yep.
That picture to me, I don't like it because of Lori, but I love it because of Kay.
Oh, yeah.
We love Kay's facial expressions.
Yeah.
Kay is very expressive, and I don't think we have to wonder very much what she's thinking.
Oh, I know, right?
But that picture to me was so powerful. It was just sort of, in the moment, Lori probably just assumed, like every other time she's been in trouble with the police in her life, this would go away.
Yep. She could talk her way out of it.
And so I think she had that cockiness there, maybe eating up the attention initially from the press.
Yep.
But it's just that look from Kay is kind of like, just wait. Just wait. I hate you too, but
Yeah.
just wait. Give this a few months. And here we are. I wonder if she's drugged up.
I don't know. We've talked about that before. I don't know if they're able to have that.
Yeah, they do get mental health treatment in jail. It's just a right you have. I would be curious to know. It's not my right to know, obviously. But that may come in later in the trial if they're going to claim a mental health defense.
Yeah.
So
What about the names on the screens?
yeah, so Judge Edens referred to her today as Lori Noreen Vallow, a.k.a. Lori Daybell. Now, at the preliminary for Chad this week, his lawyer referred to her as Lori Vallow.
Yeah.
Now, on the 30th of June, when she had that hearing about, let's see, what was that one about? It wasn't about the streaming because she waived the right to go to that one. There was a hearing on the 30th. I'm sorry. Y'all, I need blood pressure medicine with this case. I got
There's been so many.
I'm so bad at math, and then you get these dates and numbers in my head, and it's like my eyes go in different directions and I pass out. It's just like, I can't do it. So on the 30th, there was some kind of a hearing. I forgot. And so on the screen on the bottom left, there they have her name, and it said Lori Noreen Daybell. So today I noticed on the screen when she was waiving the preliminary, it said Lori Noreen Vallow. Now the judge still referred to her as Daybell.
Yep.
Mark Means didn't refer to her as anything that I heard.
No.
But I just really think they flipped. I really do.
I was waiting on him to say she wants to be called Vallow.
Oh man, if she would have done that, I'd have fell
Yeah,
back in
that
my
would have been
chair.
like, yep.
That would have been
Yeah.
your confirmation. And we've said so many times they've got to do it eventually.
Yeah.
May as well do it now. So
You got to think this is her knight in shining armor, as she thinks, and he has possibly turned on her. So
yeah, she'll be out for blood. And did you notice a change in her voice today?
yeah, there was something a little bit different.
Yeah.
And we've tried to get the word to describe it, and we've both.
I mean, it's almost like in the past she's tried to really kind of sound like a quiet little mouse that's vulnerable and just innocent. And today you sort of heard that projection in her voice. It was, yes, I understand. And for me, it just felt like she was speaking louder and clearer. And of course, the judge asked her to, but there's a difference. If you go watch the last hearing before this one, which was on the 30th, and I still can't tell you what it was for.
That was the one where Colby was on there. That's the one you're talking about?
Yeah, that was for the probable. Yeah, that was when she was charged or the charges were upgraded.
Yeah.
That's right.
That was the first blue sweater thing.
Yeah, she had that on today again, by the way.
Yep.
I guess she don't have anybody bringing her extra clothes.
Because he couldn't come, like he was in his office, so.
Yeah, and which, I mean, I get it. It financially, it probably doesn't make sense for him to come all the way to Rexburg for this. But again, the one thing that stuck out to me today is she's alone.
Yep.
She's by herself. There's nobody there for her. There were guards waiting to take her back into her jail cell. And I think that's just how it's going to be for her from now on. And you hate to theorize, but it has to be coming clear to her at this point, even if it's just in like the back part of her mind when nobody's around, that her life is over.
Yeah.
Like she's always wiggled out of everything. Any problem with authorities or courts, she's always sort of got her way.
Yep, talked her way out of it.
But this time, I just think maybe is starting to hit home that there's no way out of this, and the rest of her life will be behind bars. And we know there will be additional charges at some point, and we'll talk about that at the end. So, what are the pros for the defense?
You get witnesses on record. So, I mean, it's hard when somebody asks you a question and you answer it. Mm-hmm. And then, a couple days later, somebody asks you a question, maybe a little bit differently, and you answer a little bit differently.
Right.
So it could be some inconsistent statements. Mm-hmm. And not saying anybody's lying or anything, but it's you're in front of this coming up, you're going to be in front of a jury and a judge, and everybody's watching you on TV. You know what I mean?
Right. So, it's much different.
So they're going to try to discredit where you've made two statements that were different.
Yeah.
But
I think that it's a situation where the FBI and law enforcement, they do this, so they kind of know how to handle a situation like that. I think Melanie Gibb would have been the one, or David Warwick, that I think they would have went after as far as trying to trip them up a little bit in their answers. But I don't really know that that's going to matter.
Yeah, I mean, Melanie's given, 2 or 3 interviews.
Yeah, she's given a few.
Every one of them, she said the same thing.
Right. So I don't even know that that's like a really big deal. But I guess if you're going to have a preliminary, if she had not waived it, that's obviously one thing they're going to look for when they get both of those transcripts and put them side by side.
Yeah, and I'm just throwing this in here real quick. I felt bad for David because obviously he's a little bit hard of hearing, which is not anything abnormal with somebody who's worked in construction.
Right.
But I felt Pryor was almost doing it on purpose because he would back away from his mic. And I mean, he may not have, but I just felt like, I felt bad for David because he truly couldn't hear him and understand him. So I think it got him kind of frustrated and flustered. Mm-hmm. And then he's asking him all these questions. So, I mean, it was...
Yeah, it was... I did... I don't want to say I felt bad, but I was sympathetic to David. I mean, I've friends who are hard of hearing, and on top of that, he may have felt like a little embarrassed that this was going on in front of the world. That he needed it, and it shouldn't be something you're embarrassed about. If you can't hear, you can't hear. It's not your fault. Yeah. But I understand the stress, and so I just feel like that. Chad, Mark Means is already going to get the transcript from Chad's hearing.
Yep.
And he's going to be able to use that at least on several different angles to try and start formulating a defense for Lori. Yep. Everything that was said, it would have been the same stuff.
Yeah, I think there may have been a little bit, a couple of things new because you're trying to prove that the conspiracy on her.
Right.
So I think some of the stuff would have been the same. I think possibly some more phone records.
I think so, because if you think about it, they didn't even give any for Chad. And so just with the bodies being on his property, it doesn't take a rocket scientist to figure, and then with the text he sent Tammy Daybell.
Yeah.
And then you have Alex's cell phone pings. But right now, I haven't seen anything that ties her to concealment or destruction of evidence. And I feel like that part that pertained to her would have been something we probably would have learned on Monday.
Yeah.
But that's okay. I mean, hopefully we have a trial. Honestly, I don't know. I mean, if it saves Kay and Larry and Colby and everybody from having to relive this and hear details and have to see pictures, then maybe that's a good thing.
Yeah.
I don't see it happening. I think they'll fight until they're found guilty.
Yep.
And that's just on this charge. We've got other stuff coming up. So, courtrooms are going to be very familiar to them in the next few years.
I know, right?
Yeah. And really, as far as the defense, the one way that it helps them is that it's the same charges as Chad. She would have been put over for trial anyway. I mean, that was a formality on Monday.
It probably saved her a good bit of money.
And we probably think she doesn't have any. I mean, Chad, if they've turned, he was the one that had the money.
Yeah.
Unless Lori has some money put back we don't know about, but I doubt it.
Yeah.
So
he keeps saying she's low on funds, so.
Yeah, and I don't know how that works. I mean, I've read some things where when a defendant runs out of money and they've hired a private attorney, that sometimes they can reach a deal where the state pays that attorney what they would pay. I may be wrong, but I'm pretty sure I read this at one point, like years ago, that they can pay the attorney that they've retained essentially what they would pay a public defender just to not have to start over.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I mean, I think I read that years ago. Don't quote me on that. My brain's mush.
I have no idea on that.
Yeah. So what else?
We talked a little bit about the joint defense agreement.
Yeah, and that would be if they waive the hearing if they're united.
Yeah.
And I doubt that.
Right now, it doesn't look like it.
They could collaborate, starting now on their defenses, but they haven't been named as co-defendants. And, I mean, I just think that there's more of a chance they flip than they're going to be together.
We've seen time after time what happens to somebody who goes against what she thinks.
Yeah, I mean, they end up either dead or reputation's ruined.
Yeah.
Or they end up broke.
Yeah.
Or both. I mean, she broke Joe Ryan in court for years.
Yeah. So if that's the road Chad's going down, I don't know. I can't see her being a unified front.
No, I don't think so. I think the minute that she has any clarity about the severity of all this, then she's gonna do what she has to do, which I don't think will ever be successful. But then again, you never know. But if you can get some sympathy, and I think at this point she'll get life without parole. But I'm sure at this point Mark Means is thinking, well, if I can get life with the possibility of parole in like 30 years. And that's just on this charge, though. I mean, we got all this other stuff coming. She's never getting out.
Yeah.
She'll go out when she's deceased.
Yep.
She'll die in jail.
Yep.
Both of them, hopefully.
I totally agree. So what are some pros for the prosecution?
Well, and it's also for the families. I mean, Kay and Larry don't have to sit and hear the same thing again about how the bodies were found. They're going to have to go through this for years. There are going to be many hearings, whether or not they come to every single hearing, you don't know, but they're going to be tied up in court for a very long time. It saves the state money, because it's a given she's going over. And then for the prosecution, one of the big things is you don't have the publicity, the extra publicity, because it's Lori. So I think maybe you get more viewers when she's at her preliminary. And so the benefit for Wood is that there's some evidence he doesn't have to reveal just yet.
Yeah, he can. Yep, keep it in his pocket.
Right, and I think too we know that Chad's going to file for a change of venue within, I think it was 60 days he had to change.
Yeah, he has within 60 days. Yeah.
I mean, so we know that's coming, but at the same time, if you're going with less publicity, you could argue that maybe it's good because potential jurors aren't seeing this hearing, maybe.
Yeah.
So I think that probably both sides, I would assume, are pretty happy right now with this decision. I don't think that a ton would have been gained out of it. Just 2 days of more hearings.
Yeah, with a lot of the same information. So
Yeah, but I think if you take stock of everything, I mean, we got some news possibly about the investigation in Charles today.
Yeah, that was good.
And I was really, really happy to hear this. But
Yeah.
I think the way they said it was great. And I think I know what they're getting at. So this article here comes from East Idaho News, and I'm going to read it. But I want to say that Nate tweeted this out and put it on his Facebook. So if you want to read the full article, go to East Idaho News's social media sites and it'll be there. But I didn't want to read this out and pretend like I wrote it because I did not.
I love Nate.
Nate is awesome. Him and Eric both. They are so cool. And we don't know him personally, but do you ever just see people and you think, man, those are like some of the nicest people I don't know?
Yeah. I would hang out with them.
Oh, totally. Yeah. They just seem really like good people. They have good ethics and, Justin Lum. And we have just so many people that we followed throughout all this that have worked so hard.
Yeah.
And, but yeah, we haven't, Nate and Eric, they definitely they were the first ones that I found that were covering this locally.
Yep.
So on to the article, it says that, here it says that police in Arizona will eventually ask prosecutors to file charges against Lori Vallow Daybell in connection to the 2019 homicide of her former husband, Charles Vallow. Chandler police spokesman, and I'm going to butcher this name, and I'm sorry, Sergeant Jason.
You want me to say it?
Yes.
McClemens.
There you go. Good job. Sorry.
Yeah.
I had a phone call, a booty dial at 6:30 this morning, and guess who couldn't go back to sleep? That would be me.
At least you didn't call me, so that's good.
Oh, I should have, just to let you feel my pain.
No.
So anyways, Jason, what's his name?
McClemens.
He goes on to say that he confirmed to eastidahonews.com that detectives plan to submit their case to the Maricopa County Attorney's Office, but they still have a ways to go in their investigation. They're still in the active search warrant and subpoena phase. So it says that the charges against Lori could vary.
Okay, round two. Name something that's not boring.
A laundry? Ooh, a book club. Computer solitaire, huh?
Sorry, we were looking for Chumba Casino. That's right. ChumbaCasino.com has over 100 casino-style games. Join today and play for free for your chance to redeem some serious prizes. ChumbaCasino.com. No purchase necessary. Void where prohibited by law. 18 plus. Terms and conditions apply. See website for details.
And they're up to the prosecutor, but police indicate a conspiracy to commit murder charge is possible. And he goes on to say, this is actually Chandler Police Detective Nathan Duncan told East Idaho News that the case is a marathon and not a sprint, and they're conducting a very thorough investigation to determine the truth behind the murder of Charles Vallow. And what stuck out to me, homicide and murder is being mentioned and not self-defense.
Yep.
So I was really happy to hear that. And I think what they're saying to people is quit bugging us.
Yeah.
We're on it. But they said it could be 6 months before they charge her.
They're not going anywhere.
No.
They're not going to get out.
No, they're not going anywhere, guys. Are you seeing the same amount of people online freaking out that they're going to get away with this as I am?
Yeah, I do. And I'm like, they're not getting out.
No, I mean, Chad Daybell had 2 kids' bodies in his yard, and they're Lori's kids.
They have no money to get out. They're not going to get out.
No. But you know what I was thinking about is this had to be a very happy day in some regards for Cheryl Wheeler, his ex-wife, and his sons.
Yeah.
Because we've always said that, they're victims of Lori too. And they seem like really nice boys. I think they're still friends with Colby, maybe. I've seen, they were at his wedding.
Yep.
But we forget about those victims as well because it's
such a long list.
It's a long list, but you look at the number of people that have been impacted by Chad and Lori and Alex.
Yeah.
It's just a huge number. I mean, you have boys that don't have a father.
Yep.
He won't get to see them get married, have kids, live their lives as adults.
Yeah, who didn't deserve any of that.
No. And so I hope that they feel a little bit of relief today. I know it made me feel good to know that they're really trying to find justice for Charles.
Yeah.
Because we all know that stunk to high heaven.
Yeah.
And that was not even self-defense.
Okay. My favorite thing about that is when, I don't forget who was interviewing Kay and Larry, and they both said, no, that was an ambush. We knew that was an ambush from the get-go.
Yeah. I'm sure everybody who knew Charles personally, probably knew that was way out of line, especially with JJ there.
Yeah.
I mean, Charles looked like he adored JJ. And
You know, one thing that stuck out to me in that
what's that?
I thought was just crazy. Lori tries to advise him of what JJ eats.
Oh,
And
yeah.
I'm thinking, he's been around him just as much as you. Now, I know Charles traveled, but still, I think he would know what JJ eats and likes to eat. So that was like,
I didn't hear that. What was
she was saying he wanted the chicken fries from Burger King. That he had to have chicken fries, and I forget what the drink was or whatever.
Okay.
And I thought, why are you like he knows?
Yeah.
You know. So
well,
anyways,
I mean, so for us, in a selfish way, we were sort of bummed when it was canceled, but thinking about it, it would have been a lot of the same. And I'm happy that the families and everybody who testified can take a break and get ready. Now, the big question for me is, and I don't know the answer to this, if they upgrade to murder charges or conspiracy to commit murder, does this trial still go on, or does it become a package deal?
Yeah, I don't know.
I don't know. We're going to try to find out that answer. But I mean, other than housekeeping stuff or motions that are, definitely going to come up, we're in it for the long haul now as far as like actual hearings.
Yeah.
You'll have I don't know. Well, I guess when the murder charges come, you'll have probable cause hearings for those.
I would think so.
But as far as, any kind of finality is going to be a very, very long time. So a little bit of news on Melanie Pulowski, who is, we think, due to give birth soon.
Yep.
Maybe in the next month or so. We routinely kind of look at the court website for her custody hearing with Brandon to see if there's been any motions filed. And there was a motion for contempt filed on August the 4th.
Yeah. And we don't know on who because it doesn't say, but
I think if maybe we put two and two together, the last thing that was ordered in their case was a psychiatric evaluation for Melanie. So it could potentially be that she didn't abide by what the court ordered of her.
It was a pretty tight time frame. So I don't know. I mean, I guess you could get an appointment quick on that.
Yeah, well,
And
they're going to have to. I mean, she's going to give birth soon, and I kind of thought they would get her before she had that baby.
Yeah.
But I guess that remains to be seen.
But in just thinking about it, you would think that her attorney would have so many days to respond to that order.
Yeah, I
don't know what it is. Maybe it'll come out in the next few days. What that's all about.
Maybe she tried to file contempt charges against Brandon, but Brandon seems like a pretty straight-laced guy and definitely has his kid's best interests at heart, unlike the other half of the parent.
Yeah, I mean, he's been following the rules.
He has. I mean, I have so much respect for Brandon.
Yeah.
The way he has been strong for Kay and Larry when they needed it. Clearly, when he had to identify JJ through the photo, and he seems like a wonderful dad, beautiful kids, and I've seen some pictures of him with his kids, and he just looks like a proud daddy.
Yeah,
and he's remarried now. He got remarried just a short while ago, so hopefully that's given him some normalcy in the midst of this chaos, because their case is still, just moving forward.
Yep.
But I guess a lot of that case depends too on. I think they're not due back in court about this till November.
Yeah, I think so.
So unless she gets arrested between now and November, and I guess if she gets arrested for conspiracy to commit murder, he doesn't have to worry about custody.
True.
And then he can hopefully move on with his life and be happy and have some normalcy after some crazy, year and a half.
Yeah. But then the kids, this has to affect them.
Well, yeah, because they probably don't understand the scope of what's going on. All they know is like mom's not here anymore. And then the last time probably they saw their mom, she was getting arrested. I don't know if they arrested her on scene there. I guess they would, but you remember the 911 call with Brandon's dad.
Yep.
And she's outside and he is terrified because Alex is there. And at this point, they pretty much know Alex probably tried to shoot him.
Yeah.
Shoot Brandon.
And they were in the garage. So.
Yeah. I mean, so hopefully that family can find hopefully all these families can just have a nice little breather. And, it's so important for Kay and Larry to be able to grieve for these kids and for Colby to be able to grieve for these kids. And maybe now Chad's arraignment's the 21st. but probably nothing major right now as far as lengthy hearings. So hopefully everybody's just taking a break and dealing with themselves.
Yeah, I thought a little bit about Adam, Lori's brother, when we Monday or Tuesday, I don't know what day it was. We heard the police camera footage. We got to hear the audio, and she's accusing him of trying to kill her. So I'm like, here's this guy. He's clearly doesn't have a lot to do with his family. It doesn't seem like, and he's, I think he lives in Kansas or somewhere, and now he's, that's Zach's dad, the one Zach who lived.
Yeah, he's really funny with his comments. I love reading Zach's comments. He just tells it like it is.
Yeah.
He does not hold back.
Yeah. So his dad, Adam, so now she's said in there, oh, he's trying to kill me. So, it's just crazy.
Everybody's out to get Lori.
Meanwhile, she's killing everybody.
Right, yeah. I mean, everybody's out to get her whole life, but, look at the bodies in her path.
Yep. Hey, did you happen to catch the Melanie Gibb Nate thing this morning?
I did not. After we talked on the phone when that was posted on Miss Cushing's Twitter, I was like, it makes sense if they do it. And you're like, nah, man, I think that maybe they're going to do it. And then I said, oh, maybe they'll cancel it. And then I took my daughter to the orthodontist, and I'm literally sitting in the parking lot because they won't let me go in right now because of COVID. And I'm jamming out to some Pink Floyd, and I'm just chilling. And then I see that red East Idaho News alert come on my phone, and I see Lori Vallow.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, what is this? And then it says, she's waived her right to a preliminary.
Yeah, it's as soon as I got that, like I was showing my mom, she's interested in this case. So I was sharing with her the Nate Melanie Gibb, like the little thing they did this morning. And as soon as it went off, I looked at her and said, you're going to have to hold on a second because my phone's getting ready to ring.
That's so funny.
And it was you.
It was me.
Yep.
Well, we haven't talked much in 2 days. I mean, I've been taking care of my kids. You've been taking care of your family. I haven't seen you. I haven't really talked to you much. And then all of a sudden today with this, it's like text, call.
Yeah.
Can you come over? Let's do a quick podcast. And you had plans. And then I had to cook for everybody. And you said those tacos were good.
They were good. They were good.
Fruit Loop had some leftovers when she came over. There you go.
Yeah,
I can't cook much, but I can cook some tacos.
But they gave me the hiccups, so.
I know, right? We didn't think we'd be able to go on for a few minutes.
Yeah, I'm if you ever get hiccups, and you can do this, it really works. I've been doing it since I was a kid. So I get like massive hiccups. So it's like, tear the house down, massive hiccups.
Oh, I don't even know what kind of noise you were making over there, but I thought you were dying.
No, yeah. So the only thing that will stop my hiccups is peanut butter.
Yeah, I've tried that.
So you take a little bit of peanut butter on a spoon, eat it, and it stops my hiccups.
Yeah, so. It sounded like I don't know.
Yeah.
Sounded like an animal over there in some distress.
Exactly. So anyways, back to the Melanie Gibb Nate thing.
Back to my story real quick.
Oh, yeah, go ahead.
I didn't read the story because I was too busy on top of all this about the preliminary. I wanted to, but you're going to tell us about it.
Gotcha. So he did a little mini interview. It was a video. You can go to East Idaho News and catch it on Nate's on that page. But so he kind of asked her a few questions, and she talked a little bit about she loved being able to meet and talk to Kay and Larry and kind of form that relationship. And she shared a little bit about, he asked her, he said, a lot of people have asked why you didn't come forward, why you didn't, when you heard Lori referring to the kids as zombies, why didn't you do something? And she had a great explanation. She said that Lori and Chad always made predictions and always said things, and it never happened.
Well, yeah, because they can't predict nothing.
Exactly. She said that they never mentioned at all about killing anybody, and that they would talk about praying and hoping that the spirits would leave the body. So it was all about prayer. And then, of course, she got into the dates, which she kind of explained she had never heard the July 22nd date, that it was always August, and it wasn't really a end of the world type thing. It was more of there's going to be a transition where things will just change and be different and stuff like that.
Well, they nailed that, just not in the way they thought.
Yeah.
Different, like we're in jail.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So it was kind of cool. And the last thing he asked her, he asked her what she would say to Chad and Lori, and she said, what was you going to say? Well, I'm finding this real quick because I don't want to mess it up.
Oh, no, I was just going to say that I've thought a lot about Melanie Gibb in the last couple of days and her testimony. And, I've defended Melanie Gibb a little bit on some of the Facebook groups when I was more active on those. I just feel like maybe people sometimes, and I'm not trying to offend anybody, I feel like maybe sometimes people put too much responsibility on her just because she was there the night JJ passed away. I mean, like she was saying, essentially, I know Charles and Tammy had died, and I get that, but they never talked about murdering them. And you have to understand, Melanie believed that they could predict things. So we're not saying that Melanie was thinking like you and I would think.
Yeah.
So I just, in some ways, I feel like Melanie Gibb sort of has become the go-to for everybody, but there's so many situations where the ball was dropped, and I think part of that's being righted right now in Gilbert, Arizona, investigating. Yeah. I mean, because if you think about it, look, law enforcement's human, and
they can't go back and change anything.
They make mistakes, but honestly, if they had investigated this a little further, I think Lori and Chad both would have been in jail.
Yep.
And I'm not trying to diss anybody. But there's a lot of blame that can go around if we want to look hard enough. And so I think that if Kay and Larry feel comfortable and they're grateful to Melanie, I think that speaks volumes.
Oh, yeah. And Larry said from the get-go, when they found the bodies on the property, he was standing out there and he was crying and he said, I just want to be a peacemaker.
Right. And there doesn't need to be any more drama associated with this case.
No.
And I understand people's stance on why they may not prefer Melanie Gibb, but I just feel like the ball was dropped so many times to single her out. She wasn't even living in the same city with them.
Yeah.
And then beyond that, we know she told the lie, but I mean, Fruit Loop, if I called you and we're best friends and I said, hey, can you tell the cops that Taylor Mason or Sarah Rose are with you?
Yeah, I would have no reason to think you would harm them in any way.
Right. So I just, I'm not trying to start a debate with anybody or anything. I just feel like everybody's made mistakes in this case. Yeah. And she made a big one when she did that. But I've just never felt like Melanie Gibb had any evil intent at any point. Really gullible with this whole Chad and Lori thing and their visions. Yeah. Because we don't think that way. Like for us on the outside looking in, it just looks, how can you even believe that? But we've done research on how people can become convinced super easily about things that are just out there.
Yeah.
And so anyways, that's all I was going to say. Sorry.
That's all right. But her comment of what she would say to Lori and Chad, this is just a little piece of it. And again, you can go on Nate's page and they have all this article. But she says at some point, you're going to have to come to the realization that you can't live in this pretend bubble. It has to pop eventually because they're not going to come out of jail. They're going to be there for the rest of their lives. So she was saying, eventually they've got to realize what they did was wrong.
Yeah.
And it was evil.
Yeah, it was. I think that's happening maybe on a small scale. I mean, because at this point, they've been apart longer than they were married. They were in Hawaii a few months after they got married, but she's been in jail 6 months.
Yep.
So, they spent a year together hanging out and planning all this, but things go south. She's locked up a lot, way before he was. So at what point? Will it break if it hasn't already? I guess we'll see. But we'll definitely keep an eye on things. We'll do podcasts on a regular basis. There's so much to still talk about in this case. But just not Monday or Tuesday.
Yeah.
Oh, well.
Yep.
My kids were really excited. They were like, can we go to the beach house?
Yeah. Let's get back to the beach.
Because I told them, I said, Monday, Tuesday, like, do not come in that studio unless you are bleeding out
Yeah.
or the house is on fire.
Yeah.
But they're cool about it. But yeah, so they're like, hey, can we go to the beach house?
Yeah.
So, anyways, I think that's kind of all we have for today. Just a little bit of news here and there, and the big news, obviously, with the no preliminary hearing. But I think we'll hear some news at some point about upgraded charges, and then this will seem kind of like a smaller charge, obviously, when you start getting into murder stuff. But
and if you've got any questions,
yeah, shoot us on Twitter.
Yeah, let us know, and we can research and do some stuff. And we're going to be doing that anyways. But
yeah, if you have anything you want us to research, reach out on social media. Let us know. I mean, some of the funnest things we've researched have just been ideas from the listeners.
Sure.
So I think maybe for me, I'll take a break for a few days from this case.
Yeah, just get a breather.
Yeah.
Those 2 days, that was rough.
Yeah, I think I'm going to take my kids maybe hiking tomorrow.
Yeah.
Go get out and get in the...
It's hot.
It's so hot.
Yeah.
Y'all, it's so hot here.
Yeah, I'm not... I hike. That's part of my ministry, and we choose not to hike in the summer.
Yeah, I don't hike a ton. I have a really bad knee. And I'm a little scared of snakes, guys. I'm really scared of snakes. I got bit by one last week,
You
so
just
it's
gotta
like...
let them crawl. Snakes and bears.
No, I'll jump off the side of a mountain before I'll get close to a snake. Not even kidding. I still got bite marks on my hand, guys. That thing, every night I go to bed, I see his little face looking at me and just that mouth open. It was like it reminded me of Harry Potter.
I promise you, I'm going to get Sarah to put a snake in your bed. I promise you it's going to happen.
Then almost 30 years of best friends. I'm going to send you packing.
The podcast is going to end when you get the snake in the bed.
Oh my gosh. We also have this little, it's one of those heads that you use in cosmetology school. And
that thing is spooky.
It's freaky. So it's just a freestanding little, you can go online and see them. And so we put it in the most random places. My kids and I'll put it in the refrigerator. So when my daughter goes to get her breakfast, the head's in there and you just hear,
it was in my car the other night when I went out to get in the car.
I know, right? So don't put anything past me because we prank each other sometimes and I'll get these gears turning and get you good. But I always tell my daughter, because she likes to hang out beside the doors and jump out and scare me and Fruit Loop. And I'm like, we're in our 40s.
Old.
This is like heart attack stuff now. It's not, we jump and laugh. Yeah, I'm going to fall over one day. But yeah, so, but thanks a lot for following us the past week. It's been a busy week, and we'll be here if anything new comes up. I'm still watching this page for Melanie. Still watching the page for Lori and Chad. Anytime anything is uploaded, I get an alert on my phone, so we'll let you know if anything changes.
Yeah.
But the next big thing right now is the 21st of August, 9 a.m. their time, 11 Eastern. That'll be the arraignment. Shouldn't be super long.
Yep.
But that'll be it. And then, like I said, just shoot us some ideas if you want. Otherwise, we'll just start cranking out some stuff, and we will see you guys back here soon.
Have a great rest of your week.
Yep. I'm going to go prank her.
Nope.
Judy was boring.
Hello.
Then Judy discovered ChumbaCasino.com.
It's my little escape.
Now Judy's the life of the party.
Oh, baby, mama's bringing home the bacon.
Whoa, take it easy, Judy. The Chumba life is for everybody. So go to ChumbaCasino.com and play over 100 casino-style games. Join today and play for free for your chance to redeem some serious prizes. ChumbaCasino.com. No purchase necessary. Void where prohibited by law. 18 plus terms and conditions apply. See website for details. Judy was boring.
Hello.
Then Judy discovered ChumbaCasino.com.
It's my little escape.
Now Judy's the life of the party.
Oh, baby, mama's bringing home the bacon.
Whoa, take it easy, Judy. The Chumba life is for everybody. So go to ChumbaCasino.com and play over 100 casino-style games. Join today and play for free for your chance to redeem some serious prizes. ChumbaCasino.com. No purchase necessary. Void where prohibited by law. 18 plus terms and conditions apply. See website for details.